Welcome back, y'all. Today we're going to look at how to organize data. So yesterday we filled out a survey, or I had you guys fill out a survey um, for my Canvas calendar, and I'm going to show y'all kind of where that looks like today. I actually found the survey that uh, I had sent out previously to kind of show an example. So that was the data collection process, just getting a survey, sending it out. And then once you do that, that was the kind of the first step. So you can't wait until the last minute to fill out your survey because we haven't done anything yet except ask a question or ask a couple questions. The next step is how do we make sense of all these responses? So data by itself is just a bunch of numbers or words to find patterns or answer questions. We need to organize it. So actually, I have it on here. So this is what a screenshot looks like of what I see. If you notice, I see a timestamp on the left column, followed by the class period, the gender selection, and then the favorite colors. I actually had you guys do this on this. It looks like December 1st. I had y'all do this, so I'd already had this data available. And we can see that right over here, it looks like I got about 87 something responses. So anyways, this is what my data looks like all together. Let me show y'all once again how to look for that. So if you find out if you go to your original survey that you created right here, you go up here to responses, you can view in sheets, and then you'll see a list like that. So all I did was just snip this and put this on my PowerPoint so we can see all of those. So think of when you're talking about organizing it, like organizing your closet. If everything is tossed in randomly, like we just saw, going back, randomly, just a bunch of stuff up there, that can be overwhelming, and it's hard to find what we need. But if we organize it by color, type, or size, everything becomes easier to understand. So this is where the table comes into play. So one way to organize data, categorical data, is by a frequency table. And frequency just means how many of that thing there are. So just counting up how many times it appears. So I can go through, and if my colors were green, purple, pink, and red, I can say go to my list and say how many of those people chose green, and I can say 18 and 24 chose purple, 21 pink, 23 chose red. And we're going to use Google Sheets to do this, so you can manually actually count those up. There's also a shortcut to do. I actually have to look it up. It's something to do with count, and then I think I have mine shown somewhere. But you can use that shortcut if you want, so you don't have to physically count. And then we also have relative frequency, and that's just telling you out of the whole what percent is green, purple, pink, and red. So today we're going to take it a step further by creating a two-way table which looks at two categories at once. So I asked gender as well, and I also asked class period, but that was just for my own thing. I'm not going to really use that, but I'm going to be looking at gender and color. So now I have this broken down between this, and now out of that big long list, I can see 7 males preferred green, 11 females preferred green. That means 18 total people out of the 86 people that I had on this preferred green, and so on and so forth. We can see totals both going vertically and horizontally on this table. I can see how many males filled out this survey by looking right here. I can see how many females filled out this survey by looking right here. Why? Because the header's up here at the top. That's males. These are all males, and these are all females. If I look at the sides, the rows, I can see how many total people prefer green, how many people prefer purple, how many people pink, how many people red, and then once again, this is the total of everybody. I said 87 a second ago. I might have missed one. Oh, no, it would have been, it's 86 because the top row is my header. So I had, yeah, I'm good. And now breaking this down, now I can look at these in terms of male and female versus the colors that they actually selected. So one variable labels the row and the other labels the columns. Each cell shows how many students fall into both categories. So this is not numerical data. This is categorical data. We're just counting them, and that's one way we can organize it. And that's what you're going to have to do as part of your project. So you're going to pick a topic where you're looking at two different things like that, and then you're going to organize it into a two-way table. So you're going to log into Canvas, go to the Canvas calendar. We're going to talk about this right now and click on the hyperlink under today's date for survey results. I made this available for you guys. You're going to make a copy, and sure to do this next part with me because this is your example for next week when I'm not here. So data is most powerful. Let me get out of that. So let me just show y'all what we're doing here. So on this, I'm going to go. Here's my list that I had. So right now, I'm going to organize this. I don't really care about. Actually, I don't want to touch this because this is. Well, y'all will see that. Let me go to my calendar and let me open up the blank one. I want to go to survey responses. It's going to make a copy. Y'all don't have to make a copy for yours. I'm doing this so if you start changing things, everybody else doesn't see it. I don't need this timestamp, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that just to make it a little bit like cleaner. Delete column. I don't know why it's not letting me do that. I don't know why it looks like. Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay. I also don't care about this. Cannot delete column with form data. Consider hiding the column instead. Okay, whatever. Okay, that doesn't really matter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort and organize this. And I'm going to break this down first I'm going to go ahead and freeze this column right up here. So it doesn't move. And now I can scroll down and that stays there. So now I can click on this and I'm going to sort this data either from A to B or B to A. And that's going to get all my females together and all of my males together. So I can kind of look at this like that. So now I'll go from females and then I go from males. Over here, I'm going to make a table. And this is where I kind of have to look at what I did. Females. So I'm going to organize this into a table, a two-way table over here. And it doesn't matter if we put colors going across the top and gender on the side, or if we do gender over here and colors at the top. So my colors were pink, green, purple, and pink. And so I have something like this. And then I want to format that. So I'm going to pause the video real quick and then bring up my already formatted one. Okay, so you don't have to make a frequency table like this. We're going to make a two-way table like this. But just to kind of show you, like I made two different ones on my example. And there is a way to count this without physically going and saying how many greens. On this, we can sort this. If this is frozen, I don't want to change anything on here. But I can go through and I can do this formula real quick. Rather than counting up all the greens, it won't take that long. But I can use this. And the way it works is you use this command count ifs. You have to spell that exactly, like equals count ifs. And then you select the range. So what cell or what column are you wanting it to count? And then if you put a comma with quotes with the actual word typed in exactly, like this, it will tell you how many those things there are. So going back over here, just to show you what that looks like, I'm going to do, what column is that? C? No. Oh, I can see how many males are here. Let me do that so I'm going to go equals count ifs. I'm going to select the range. I'm going to say how many males that I have. So I'm going to do comma, quotes. I need to make sure I spell that the same. It's a capital M and there's no S. And it looks like I have 41. Okay, so you can use that shortcut or you can physically say how many males do you have. And we can, with this one, it can be a little bit easier because we can sort this and then just count there. But right now, this one hasn't been sorted. So we see males and females all mixed together. So it might be worth like kind of trying to understand that tool here. But anyways, let's go back to this. Oh, not that. Okay, so I have, I guess I'll go ahead and make this here. I guess I do need to make one for the video. Hold on one sec. Just to kind of quickly review some formatting. I'm creating a table in here. I'm going to create a border around this, around the whole thing. Make that pop a little bit. Make these bold. Center them. I'm also going to put that with that. You can make these the same color as them if you want. I'd try that. I don't like the way that looks, so I'm just going to keep these red. Okay, so there's some formatting, and then here's how this is going to work. So remember, when we use Google Sheets and we're making something like this, like I'm going to build my spreadsheet every year, because the more data we collect, the more accurate our results and more close to what we expect that they become. So you can go through and manually count this and say, okay, how many males selected green? Or I can use the count if thing. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to do equals count if. And then I'm going to select the range I want. So here I'm going to say, I want to know how many people chose male and the color green. And the way I do that is I start kind of by doing these separately. So male and female were in column C. So I'm going to say from column C, comma, quotes, and then I'm going to type in the word male in quotes. And then I'm going to do this, another comma to separate those. And now I'm looking at how many want green. So where's the colors at is in column D. So I'm going to select that, comma, and then I'm going to make sure I spell this and capitalize what needs to be done. And I do that, and I can see that happens. So then I can go through and do that for all the other ones. So I'll do I'll do this one real quick, and then I'll show my completed example. So count ifs. Here I'm looking at male, looking at female this time. So I'm going to select this column and female, comma, and now how many chose green? And I get those. So here we're going to have this, and all of these should have CC male first, and then the DD would be green here, purple here, pink here, and red here. And then when we're done, once we get these, we're going to do that all the way down. Then over here on the bottom, we'll just do the sum. So I'll do like sum of, what do I want to find? The sum of this plus this, and it will add those up. And then down here, I'm going to find the sum of this plus this plus this plus this. And right now it's going to say 18 because I don't have anything in here. And when I'm done, I should have something that looks kind of like this. Okay. So we should see now. Oh, I guess I did make my color. Okay. So my table looks slightly different. So here's my two-way table. Nice and formatted, easy to look at. And I think we could all agree that this is a little easier to see than looking at all of our raw data like this. So what we just did was we organized this onto this two-way table. And now going to the next part of our lesson, once we have that, we're going to use this two-way table to actually visualize our data. So it's looking at it and creating a visual often helps us to tell the story quickly and clearly, and we can see even more from it. Tables are great for precise numbers. Visuals help us see patterns, proportions, and differences instantly. So we're going to create a side-by-side bar chart to compare our two categories. While tables are great for precise numbers, I already said that. here's what mine is going to look like. Let me show you how to do that real quick. Okay, so, and this is very important. Every year I have students do this. Do not do this, okay? So when we're making a table, we're going to make a bar graph, a bar chart, and it's going to probably select kind of what we want to anyways. But I'm going to start up here and I'm going to click and drag over. I need to have both of my headers in here, so male and female, and I need to have all of my colors, but I do not want to click and drag on any of the totals. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to do the whole table. You don't want to have totals showing it all. You just want to click and drag from this top left all the way over. See how we went from these 3 cells and these 5 rows? I don't have the total highlighted here. I don't have the totals highlighted here. Once I see that, I'm going to come up here to the top and I'm going to click insert. Let me go to my other table so I don't change anything on here. Okay, so I had to go back to my other one. I can't. I need to close this so I stop changing it. Okay, so I'm going to click and drag, not including totals. I'm going to go up here to insert, and I'm going to go down here to chart. And it's actually going to probably automatically kind of populate with something that that we want. Now, there's a couple things on here that I don't really. Why can I zoom out? Make this smaller. Okay, so a couple things that you need to consider is first of all, this title, like on your chart, you need to think about, like, if you were to display this, this doesn't make really, this is not a title male and female. Okay, so the way you edit like a chart like this is, I'll probably make this the same size. You just kind of click or double click in the area that you want to do this, and I can change this text. So I'm going to put I'm going to put kind of what this is talking about. So favorite color by gender. And I can do some things in here, like this little menu over to the side is kind of my formatting menu for the chart. I'm going to make this bold. I can go over here to my colors and I can change the color of that. I can click on these little numbers and it will bring up a new menu for the vertical axis. I'm going to make those bold. I'm going to also change those and make those red. We can do things like, there's a way to individually change these, and I can't remember. Let me see, hold on. Oh, that just changes the word. It doesn't change there's a way to change the colors themselves. Nope. Okay. Let me get this real quick and change that since I made that bold. I can actually go through and change the color of the bar. So I'm going to keep the male blue. I'm going to make the female pink, I think. I'm just going to make this black. So I'm going to make this blue. I'm going to double click. If I double click, notice how this one's highlighted and these aren't. I need to, let me get out of this. So if I single click, it will change all 3 of these bars. So I want all the males, which are represented in blue, to be the same color. I don't want them to be green, purple, pink, or red. I want these colors to match because that's what this key is. That's what this chart is showing us. So I'm going to go through. I'm going to choose a fill color. I'm just going to keep that blue, but I'm going to make it this color. I like my line to be that, and then I like to change the thickness so we can see it better. Something like that. I don't know why it didn't work for these. Nope. Oh, that was the individual one. Oh, that's because I have the individual thing selected. Okay. All right, I guess I'll have to go through and line color black. Line color black. For some reason that didn't do that. And then I'm going to do the same thing for red. Hopefully this will... Oh, I don't want to... I'm going to do that pink. All right, but anyways, I'll... Gosh, you did that again here. Let's do that. Okay. And then I'll just make those bold like that. Okay. So now I have this formatted deal and this formatted side-by-side bar chart so we can see the frequencies like it's a representation of this table. If you do have totals, it's going to give you this total bar down here, which I don't want on here. So this is just a way to create a visual. I should probably have my colors consistent with my table, but anyways, I'll make sure that all of that recorded. Yeah, okay. Okay, so this is kind of the end result, so to speak. So visualizing our data. So what patterns or trends do we notice in our two-way table? Are there any categories with particularly high or low counts? We can kind of go back through and look at our table that we had. It's not on here. And kind of see some, what do we see? So looking at my males, right, I see like more males preferred red, followed by then green. It looks like girls were kind of heavy in the pink and purple. Looks like the highest color that between both were purple, but that's because we had quite a few here. So we can see some stuff here. We can get a better idea about looking at it right here, like in terms of like girls clearly prefer pink and purple, boys prefer red and green type of thing. So maybe that's saying something. So we need to be considering these types of questions as we're reviewing it, and these are some things that you're going to need to include on your project. Like, which category has the highest number of responses, fewest, so on and so forth? Does the data seem evenly spread out, or is it concentrated in certain categories? Things like that. Is this on here twice? We're going to create something. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is on here twice. Okay. So now looking at the bar chart, do we see any noticeable differences between groups? For example, let's just say, do more boys prefer one color over girls? Did anything surprise you in the data? Did a category with unexpectedly high or low responses surprise you? So once again, kind of looking at our thing, I mean, none of that really surprises me, to be honest with you. Based on the table and chart, do you think that there might be a relationship between the two variables? In other words, is there a correlation between gender and the colors that they selected? Is that color that is popular across all groups, or is there a color that's popular across all groups? Well, look at the heights here. Like, they're all quite a bit different. If we look at green, there's quite a few more females that chose green than there are males. Same with, like, really red. More females do not prefer red. I mean, these are quite a bit different. So our next step is to think about other variables you may want to compare. Things like favorite snack versus gender, or driver's license versus grade level, athlete versus at least one advanced class, AP on-ramps, and so on and so forth. And then you're going to need to get that and send that survey out and start on this process tomorrow.